Velardo, and I'm Deputy Commissioner for DDS, and I'm really pleased to welcome you all here today. We will be recording today's session, so we'll start the recording. And we do that because this time slot doesn't work for everyone. And so after today's forum, we will post it on our website. It takes us about a week to get it up on the website. And that way people who are not able to join us today can review the recording, and any of the materials that we share today will be available on our website as well. Just a little bit about the format. We've got some great presenters here today. Today we'll be talking about residential transformation success stories. We will go through the presentations and hold all questions until the end. But if you have a question and you want to put it in the chat as people are speaking, go ahead and do that. And we may post resources in the chat as well. So many of you may have heard about STEP, Supporting Transformation to Empower People, an initiative that DDS has been hosting for over a year. That's part of our ARPA initiative. And within STEP, one of the components is transformation. Really, STEP is at the heart of our work to help people experience the DDS mission and live the most independent life that they can. And the transformational component that Sarah and Keith are going to be talking about in a little while has been a key part of STEP. Our topic today is residential transformation. If you log in next month, our April forum will be on day and employment transformation success stories. And so this is an opportunity to share some of the work that's going on under the STEP initiative and really hear what that translates into within people's lives. So without further ado, I am going to turn it over to Sarah and Keith, who are going to talk a little bit about the transformational overview. Welcome, Sarah and Keith. And we can take down the agenda and spotlight Sarah and Keith.
Thank you. We're very happy to be here. I'm Sarah Olaminik, and I'm a planning manager for the ARPA initiatives. Keith, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
And I'm Keith Lavalette. I'm the project director for the ARPA project.
So we have a short presentation today. We're going to try to kick off this discussion with a general overview of residential transformations. What does that mean? How many transformations are we expecting at DDS? And then we're going to give you some previews of approved plans by some providers, just so you can get an idea of the kinds of things that are being explored through STEP. So we're excited to be here. We're excited to look through this information with you. STEP, for those of you who haven't heard, is all about enhancing independence and helping individuals to live the most independent lives that they can. And it takes a really holistic approach. So we know that even outside of STEP, obviously the qualified providers that work with DDS and DDS are always striving to be person-centered and to support individuals in living the most independent lives that they can according to their goals and needs and preferences. Something that's really exciting about STEP is it's given us the opportunity to really enhance those transitions towards independence through additional resources, additional support. So we're really excited about the plans that we're going to go through here and the opportunities that are being made available for individuals to take advantage of this great opportunity. So we're still fairly early in the process. The planning for all of these transformational plans actually started almost a year ago now, that we were beginning to develop a lot of those transformational plans and approving them. And the deadline to finish all of those transformations isn't for another year. But there's a lot of planning, as you can imagine, that goes into a transformational plan. Obviously, individuals and families getting ready for a move, and also providers maybe laying some groundwork for future supports, skills training. There's just a lot of prep work that needs to take place first. So we have right now 17 approved providers who have submitted a plan and have said that they're going to support individuals who have expressed interest in transitioning into a more independent setting. And 10 of them have approved plans to transition individuals into more independent residential settings, and 12 of them have day plans. Now, of those 17, we've seen 6 providers who've been able to support at least one individual so far to transition to a more independent setting. So we're still in the early stages. There's been a lot of planning, and those transitions are just sort of beginning now. You can see here our planned versus completed. The yellow here for planned shows, based on the transition plans that we've approved so far, how many individuals do we know of who are hoping to move to a more independent setting through the STEP project? So as you can see with our residential, we've got about 64 folks here, and 9 of them we know have already taken that first step and started that transition. Now our goal was to hit 100 transitions in day, to support 100 people to make that transition in day, and to support in residential, and to support 200 people to make that transition in day. So you'll notice that we've actually surpassed our goal in terms of people who have expressed interest in transitioning to a more independent day setting. So we're very excited about that. And we also recognize that there's still some room for folks who are maybe interested in a residential transition. And you can see our progress towards total transitions. There's a lot of transitions planned, and we're just starting to see some of those transitions actually come through. So we're excited by the progress here, and we know that as we look at this in the coming months, we're going to be seeing more progress towards those totals. Now that we've kind of given you an overview of what those numbers look like, we just wanted to walk through 3 great examples of how providers are using STEP to really offer enhanced transition opportunities. And I know that we have 2 wonderful providers on the call who will have the opportunity to share with you as well. So I'm not going to steal any of their thunder. We picked 3 other examples that I think will also shed some light on how providers are using this opportunity. So you can see ARC of Southington here. And one idea that they've been using that I think is really innovative is this concept of a transition home. So having individuals who are interested in transitioning and going from a CLA to IHS, being able to have an intermediate step within a transition home where there's more supports, there's an opportunity to get used to living more independently, and then taking that final step when they feel ready to take that final step. So there's that element which has been really great, and then there's also increased utilization of assistive technology. I think something that's exciting about STEP is that it's happening at the same time as funds and notices of opportunity are coming through for assistive technology, and we've seen quite a few providers really make excellent use of those opportunities happening at the same time. So ARC of Southington is also exploring how assistive technology can support individuals to live independently, and completing an assistive technology assessment for every individual that wants to move to a more independent setting to identify how that technology can support that person to live as independently as possible. When we look at CRI, something that really stood out to me about their transformation plan was this idea of a drop-in center. So they're supporting individuals to move from CLA to IHS, and they're using a clustered support model. And instead of sort of just moving an individual into an IHS setting, CRI is offering a drop-in center there at the new independent setting that sort of provides an anchor for social support, group activities, community engagement. So it's a model that really takes into account that when someone moves to a more independent setting, there may be opportunities for social connection that are lost, and trying to make sure that the approach is very holistic and provides individuals with built-in opportunities for social connection and engagement. And then finally with CCARC, One area that I wanted to highlight about their plan is that they were approved, again, through the NOO for assistive technology to build in a remote monitoring system. So they're really leaning into how assistive technology can promote independence for individuals and can enable folks to transition from a CLA to an IHS. And so as part of that funding, they've been able to get both staff and individuals familiar with that technology while everyone is still at the CLA. So that whenever individuals are ready to transition, everyone is well versed in that technology, and the technology can help enable a smooth transition and an independent living style. Keith, do you want to go?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. And as much as we want everyone to be successful in these transitions, we know that's not always going to be the case. So we did establish early on some safeguards for individuals to either return to their original setting or to their current setting that they're in. So this is something that we felt family members were concerned about. So we did this early on, but we thought this was an important slide to show again.
So hopefully that gives you at least a general idea of what the bird's eye view of residential transformation plans look like. And we know that the presenters who come after us are going to do an excellent job of filling in the details and telling some great stories. So excited to hand it over to them.
Thank you so much, Sarah and Keith. And I know that you picked these 3 examples and that they're 3 great examples out of a number of examples. And on our website, there's a document that has a summary of all of the transformation plans. And if you want to drop the link into the chat, that may be helpful for people to take a look at. But thank you for that overview. And like you said, that kind of sets the stage for what is possible in terms of a transformation plan. But the purpose of today's forum is, so what comes out of that? You know, the plan is important, and that kind of sets the stage. But today we'll talk a little bit about what has that resulted in, at least in two different situations. So next, I'd like to introduce Kim Truden from Ableist, and Kim is going to talk a little bit about, I'll set this up because a couple months ago, we had a provider meeting, and the executive director of Ableist, Amy, joined us with an individual that I think you're going to hear a little bit about today, who I think may have been one of the first folks to move from their from a CRS setting in that case into their own apartment. And when is Ilya
Yep.
am I pronouncing it correctly? When Ilya shared their story, we realized just how powerful it is to hear these success stories. That's where we came up with the document that Sarah will drop in the chat. But that's why we've set up these specific forums to just kind of get an idea of what does this mean. And so Ilya was not able to join us today, and I will share with you that we scheduled these forums from 3 to 4:30, thinking it's at the end of the day, it's once people are getting home. And what I'm learning as this step transformation has been so successful is people aren't home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They're not home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And more, I'm finding that people have really busy, active, vibrant lives. And it's hard to carve out an hour and a half, which is the most wonderful problem to have. So with that, I will turn it over to Kim, and she can talk a little bit about what's happening at Ableist.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Kim. For our first individual, Ilya, who would be our first success story in planning his transition, as a team, we all sat down and identified people that we thought may be ready. and then started working with the families and the case managers about what we could potentially do next. Ilya was our first individual we identified. We looked at many different things: his safety in the community, his safety at home. Was he mature enough and ready for it? And he was our go-to for the first. So what we started out doing was starting to prepare him in his CRS for more independent living, making sure that he had the safety skills in the kitchen. If he understood and knew what to do in the event of an emergency, because that's important if he's not going to have staff with him all the time. And we did that while we were looking for an apartment. We were very fortunate. We found a smart ready apartment that was brand new, renovated. So when they moved in, all of their appliances were already Bluetooth capable, smart, had all the safety features. So for assistive technology, we were kind of already a step ahead of everything. So we looked as a team for an apartment. The family, the individual, were part of the process. We made sure that it was on public transportation, in a safe community, safe neighborhood. And when they walked in, that it felt like home. So we were very fortunate that we found an apartment that fit all of the criteria for the individuals. The biggest thing for for Ilya was being on public transportation naturally, because he does work in the community. In that same process, he was able to identify a position where he could get from home to work safely. So that was the start of the transformation. When we moved we actually also have a roommate for Ilya, so we were able to do the emergency overnight cluster funding, just to make sure that, you know, they knew who to call, when to call, because now, you know, they're going from having staffing all the time to being independent. So in that process, when we started transitioning from the CRS to his apartment, we did have more intensive staffing in there to begin with, because you can't go from 24/7 to nothing, right? So as we segued into it and he got comfortable, the staff were comfortable, the family was comfortable, as a team, we decided when to start pulling back, which was a very quick transition for Ilya. He's very charismatic and was ready to do this, which was very helpful for us. So I think we had an overnight with them for like a week, and him and his roommate were like, okay, it's time for you to go. We're ready to be on our own. We were concerned that, you know, they would get nervous in the middle of the night. They didn't even miss a beat. When they were ready, they approached us. We discussed it as a team and started pulling back. I believe it was like a week of an overnight, and that was it. And that was part of our plan. When we approached it, we wanted to make sure that Ilya had the staffing resources in the beginning, strongly, to make this successful, because he wanted it so bad. We wanted to make sure that he would be successful with it. And that was one part of our transition plan that would be on the website. We definitely looked at the staffing and his direct supports as the most important. We did put in like a Ring doorbell just for safety precautions, because they are in a private home within an apartment, so that if someone came to the door, it wasn't just walking up to a door and opening it and seeing someone they didn't know. Now they can identify it. So that was a nice feature that we did add to the plan. What we've done since is I meet with him and his roommate and the team probably every 2 weeks to discuss how things are going, if we need to look at anything that is coming up, because, you know, the honeymoon stage is over after 30 days, maybe 60 days. So it's looking at, as roommates, as supports, where we need to tweak things to make it more successful for him. And that's been very positive, because he's part of the team. He feels like he has a voice, and he actually is living his best life. I will send pictures. He's doing amazing as far as his independence in the home. I think when you're identifying an individual, looking at who really wants it and who's ready for it, and how it comes together is very important. And at this point, he's been in his own apartment since October 1st. So we're probably like 4 or 5 months into it, and he has been soaring. We're getting him to cook a little more independently. So that's one of the goals that we've been working on with him, is his cooking and budgeting. So that we identified the 2 most important items for him, and that's what the staff focused on the majority of the week. Of course, you know, they're making sure he's getting the laundry done, but at this point there isn't even like prompts. We have dry erase boards set up in the apartment, so if they need reminders on schedules, even just to let their staff know who's popping in for a couple hours here and there, what their schedule for the week is like, so everybody's on the same page, so we can support him in making sure that he's getting to where he needs to go. He was successfully travel trained within the first 30 days of living where he's living, so he's actually now traveling on the train independently, where he wasn't able to do that before. And he's making smaller meals with staff guidance. So before, where it was more involved, they've been able to have like direct him and just monitor and make sure that he's doing well. I think when we started the process, he was just boiling water at that point. So it's been an amazing journey for him. I can't wait to see where he goes from here. But he's definitely one that I don't see him stepping backwards. I think he's just going to keep pushing forwards.
That is awesome. And I know, Kim, you mentioned that you're going to be forwarding some pictures. I wanted to mention, as I did at the beginning, this call is being recorded. We will have some supplemental materials when we post to the website, and one of the things that Kim will be providing is photos. So look forward to that. All right, next, I would like to introduce Terrence and Rob. Terrence is going to share a little bit about his journey from living in a home with other people and moving into his own place. And Rob's going to talk a little bit about the transformation plan that FinFin submitted. And so I will kick it over to the 2 of you. Welcome.
Thank you. Hey, how you doing? My name is Terry.
Great to see you.
So I'll talk a little bit about your story. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Terrence. Yeah, I got took. I had a long life. I got took away by my parents when I was 7 years old. Huh?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
Dad was saying that he was in DCF for about 7 years, living in different homes and foster care, right?
Yep.
And then eventually found his way to FinFin, right? 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Moved into a CLA over on Forest Road with a couple of guys. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Very emotional because it's been a long journey. And Terrence has had a lot of success in coming from where he has. And so over the last several years, has really worked on himself a lot, right? You've done a lot of work. I want to talk about some of the things you accomplished since you've been at FinFin.
Can you tell me?
Yeah. I think, it took a little while to kind of find his stride. And when he did, you got a job, right? About 5 or 6 years ago.
5 years.
5 years you've been working.
Where are you working, Terrence?
Old Navy.
Wow,
Old Navy.
That's awesome.
Been very successful there, right? Other things about Forest?
Yeah, I had good roommates.
So good roommates, so you're still in touch with those guys, even after Terrence. Terrence has just moved out now 2 weeks ago, so this is very fresh.
Wow.
But part of the transition was also staying in touch with the guys and the staff and the folks at the CLA as well, because they've been friends for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, my grandma supported too, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's pretty
So where you live?
awesome.
Where you living?
Living in Newington.
Is that far from where you were living?
A little bit, right? From Windsor to Newington, it's a little bit of a drive, not too bad.
And how
Right.
is it getting back and forth to work?
Not too good. It'd be missing.
Yeah, right now the staff are still helping, right?
Yeah, with the ADA.
Yeah, so the staff, between the staff, the IHS staff and the ADA, we've been, it's 2 weeks in and we've seen there's been some problems with the ADA, unfortunately, that we're still figuring out on. We got to figure those things out, but.
So
Yeah,
what, Terrence, what would you say, what do you see as the difference between living at Forest, where you had roommates and staff there all the time, and living in your new apartment? Are there any
Oh,
good,
yeah, it's good. It's quiet.
it's quiet?
And my neighbors, they like me. My neighbors say I'm a nice person.
Well, that's awesome. Having good neighbors is important.
And I got to deal with people in the hospital or something no more, so that's good. Because when I used to live at the client, just go to the hospital a lot for anger and stuff.
It was a busy place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little too busy for you, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
That's good.
peaceful?
So now I'm just trying to be on my own, do what I got to do, work through it, keep working, and keep moving forward and getting better and better stuff that I do. Like before I wake up every morning, nighttime I sweep and mop. I wake up middle of the night again, sweep and mop. I cook. I could cook real good. I cook and I do a lot of stuff. I fold clothes, do my laundry by myself, sweep the floor. Nobody tell me nothing to do. I do it all on my own.
You sound like you're incredibly good at keeping up your apartment.
Yes, I am, because I work out with Navy. And with Navy, most of the stuff I do at Navy is I clean the whole store for 5 or 6 hours.
So that helped to prepare you, huh? And you say
Oh,
you're
yeah.
really good at cooking? What are
Oh,
some of
yeah.
the things you make?
Anything I want me to cook, I can make.
Your favorite.
I can make fried chicken. I can make fish. I can make everything.
Wow.
I can make steak, pork chops, ribs.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm sorry, now it's kind of hard a little bit. Something, you know.
You're doing amazing. You're doing amazing. So
Yeah.
Rob, maybe Rob can talk a little bit about kind of what it took to get ready for this
Sure.
move that happened.
Yeah, Terrence is you and the team have been working on this for a period of time.
Yeah.
Getting ready to move into IHS. And it includes a little bit of everything, kind of identifying where you wanted to get stronger with cooking and money management, like the areas that are going to be most helpful when living alone.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking, we were able to take advantage of the assistive technology grant. And we did a pilot of using the MedMinder devices in the CLA. So we typically use them in the IHS setting. And we said, boy, if folks could use them in the CLA and learn how to master them in the CLA, they could, when they go to IHS, the meds just follow easily, which is one of our barriers, helping folks manage meds when they go into that setting. And so Terrence was amazing at managing the device and learning how to take your own meds out of the device and that kind of thing.
And then stopped it.
Well, we stopped it, temporarily, but and so then recently, we've been trying to wrap our head around what our step plan was going to be and what it was going to look like and what was our best approach. And our step plan included two prongs, really. One was more of the individual folks who were ready to move to IHS. We had a small group of folks who were in the process already, and so they naturally fell into the step program. And then we also did a proposal for a supported housing project where, some of our folks who live in the CRS and CLA could live alone, but required staff presence 24/7. That was a big issue for us, is the not having someone available immediately when you need it. And so our proposal included going into a larger complex with probably 6 individuals and being able to put a staff on site in the apartments 24/7 and using technology for people to be able to reach and contact that staff at a moment's notice so that if something came up at any given point, there's someone there immediately to offer support. And so that's kind of what we're working on now. She is? Oh, yeah, Leanne's on here. So the
Okay.
manager who runs the home where Terrence lived and was a big part of his success over the years has joined us on the call, so.
Yeah, Leanne actually helped me.
She did, huh?
She makes all the straight with everything.
You
Yeah,
want
so
to
we
have
do-
her, you want to have her come on?
Yeah.
Leanne, can you come on camera?
Is it Leanne Barneswell? Oh, maybe it's a different Leanne. Maybe it's not the same Leanne that we thought it was. I do have pictures to share. You want to tell them about your apartment?
Oh yeah, I got an answer for you.
Let me see if I could share my screen.
We
Can you
see
see our
it.
screen?
Yes, we do.
All right, it's on this camera here. So, what's that?
Oh, that's me.
Where's this?
That's my living room.
Holy cow, that's a beautiful apartment.
It's incredible. The new furnishings. It's very sparse because it's only about 2 weeks in, but he's on the hunt for some good decor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Big kitchen with an eat-in, dinette area, right?
Mhm.
Bathroom.
Bathroom, laundry room. In my room.
A master suite, it looks like.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful place.
Terrence, that's gorgeous. That's a gorgeous apartment. And I wish I could show pictures of my place and have it look that spotless.
Right?
Amazing.
Clean.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all right.
So what are you thinking of doing as far as decor? Are you looking for other things? You've got beautiful furnishings.
Yeah, I'm looking for something to put on the wall. Something like decorations put on the wall.
Painting system.
Painting and gonna make a game room.
Wow,
Oh, game room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
sounds very nice.
Yeah.
So if you were gonna talk to someone who's living in a group home, who's thinking of moving to their own apartment, would you have any advice for them?
Yeah, his name is Nacho. He wants to leave pretty soon. I'm trying to keep him going. Check up on him, make sure he's doing good so he can get his own place too, you know. Cause he said he wants to move out too, so I'm trying to keep him going.
So you already are mentoring for someone else. Holy
Yeah, trying to
cow,
help
that's
him out
great.
best as I could.
So what advice would you give him?
Don't get in trouble. Just keep working hard. Do what you gotta do. Get more independent. Start cooking. Do your stuff by yourself. If no stop asking you, be good.
That's amazing. You're giving back. You are paying it forward and already helping other people. And I think there are people on this call that are finding that it's really helpful to hear from you directly. So do you
Yeah.
want to hear some of the messages that are in the chat here?
Sure.
I think you're going to be pretty blown away. All right.
Yeah.
It says, great job, young man. Fantastic. So proud of you. Terrence, thank you for sharing your story. Keep up the great work. You rock, Terrence. Terrence, awesome job. Awesome job, Terrence. What a nice apartment. I love the furniture too. Beautiful place. Great advice. And congratulations, Terrence. Keep going.
Oh wow.
So here you are. You're sharing your story and you're inspiring other people. And we really appreciate you being here today. That's what it's all about. All right. So those are our presentations for today. And we can open it up if there are any questions. You can either raise your hand or if you have a question that you want to put in the chat, that's okay too. And these can be questions for Sarah and Keith, for Kim, Rob, or Terrence. Or me. We'll give it 1 minute for the introverts. All right, it doesn't look like there's any questions, but we can tell by the positive feedback that this hit the mark. So I see hearts and I see hand clapping. Terrence, people log on to these forums every month because not because they want to hear from me or from DDS staff or even great guys like Rob or wonderful people like him. They want to hear, what does this look like when somebody makes a move? And you did a great job just sharing your story and showing how your hard work has paid off. And so I really appreciate you taking the time today to join us. I know for myself what an inspiration you are, and I will think of your story when I'm doing the work that I do. You have your hand up.
And I've been like 6 foster homes too.
You know, that's what strikes me, Terrence, is you have worked hard and you have you've created a life for yourself that's pretty incredible. And I give you a lot of credit. You definitely you have come to a really good place. There are some more comments. Would you like to hear them?
Yes, please.
All right. I'll let you know those that are for you, and then there's some questions for other people. A wonderful and inspiring presentation today. Thanks to all of you, and thanks to Terrence. Great to hear not just what's possible, but how it actually can work. Thank you. Keep up the great efforts, Terrence. You are doing awesome. And somebody asked, this is the question for Keith and Sarah, who should individuals get in touch with if they're interested in pursuing a transition? And Sarah, I know you put some stuff in the chat, but do you want to respond?
Yeah. Okay, let me. So I think the first step would be to talk with your provider, because providers are the ones that need to develop the plan and submit it. So that's step one, is touching base with your provider, see if they're thinking about submitting a plan or in progress with submitting a plan, and go from there.
And the only thing I could add to that is they could talk to their case manager, and between the provider and the case manager, work through that system.
And I will add to that, some people on the call may not have a provider, and if not, definitely talk with your case manager about what your goals are. This residential transformation is specifically around people who are moving from congregate or kind of group living situations to more independent settings, but there are a lot of other initiatives. And if you look at the Fourth Tuesday forums for the last year and a half, you'll see the variety of options that are available. So if you don't have a provider, talk with your case manager about what your goals are, what you're looking for, and they can help to navigate as far as what's possible. The question, well, this gets, is this for active DDS or on the waiting list? And so, as I mentioned, this would be for people who are currently living in either a CLA or a CRS. But again, reach out to your case manager if you're interested in something like Terrence described, and they can help to help you to look at what might be possible. Let's see what else we have here. There's a comment, I believe that if an individual is on the waiting list, they would not be working with a provider yet, so it wouldn't be included with a plan. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. Is that, Sarah, did you?
That was responding to the waiting list question.
I see. Yes, and Sarah can help you, help to direct you in the right direction. And then one more comment for Terrence. Congratulations, Terrence. So happy to hear of your success and your happiness. All right, any other questions? I want to thank everyone for joining us here today. I love these Fourth Tuesday forums. It's a little dose of inspiration that we all need, and it's an opportunity to really celebrate success. And so thank you for logging in today, and we look forward to seeing you in April. Take care, everyone.